This is another example of adding fractions with unlike denominators using the least common multiple to get a least common denominator for the two fractions. This example is a bit more complicated. So again, first we analyze our problem. We notice that it's an addition problem. We also notice that the two denominators are unlike. So we know that we need to find a common denominator, a like denominator that they can share. Using the least common multiple, what we do is we take our two denominators, 2 and 10, and we list the multiples for each number. The multiples, again, are the answers to the multiplication chart, basically. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. I can stop there because I see that I have the same number here. 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20. I need not go any further because I can see that the least common multiple that 2 and 10 have in common is 10. So that's what I'm going to use as my new common denominator. So I come back to my problem and I make equivalent fractions using my new common denominator, which is 10. Then we use what we know about equivalent fractions to figure out what we did. 2 times what gave us the answer of 10? It's 2 times 5. Whatever I do to the denominator, I need to do the same thing to the numerator. 1 times 5 is 5. Again, here, 10 times what gave me 10? It was 10 times 1. So whatever I do to the denominator, I do the same thing to the numerator. 9 times 1 is 9. Now I have two fractions with a like denominator, and I know what to do with those. What I do is I simply add the numerators, 5 plus 9, which is 14, and I keep my like denominator, 10. And then we have to analyze our answer. And I notice that this answer is improper. I know that I need to turn it into a mixed number. So again, we come back to our workspace, and in order to turn an improper fraction into a mixed number, I divide the numerator by the denominator. 10 divides into 14 one time. 1 times 10 is 10. Subtract, I have a remainder of 4. What we've learned is that we write that remainder as our numerator for the fractional part of our number, and we keep the denominator that we began with. We use our divisor, so it's 4 over 10. So, as a mixed number, 14 over 10 becomes 1 whole and 4 tenths. Now, in this problem, we have to still look at this fractional part and see if it can be reduced, and it can. We can reduce 4 tenths using the common factor of 2. So we divide the numerator and the denominator by 2, and we keep our 1 whole, that stays there. 2 divides into 4 2 times, and 2 divides into 10 5 times. Now we have to once again analyze the fractional part. Can it be reduced any farther? The only number that can divide evenly into both 2 and 5 is 1. And when that happens, we know that our fraction is reduced into lowest terms. So our final answer for this problem is 1 2/5. So, when we have two fractions with unlike denominators, we first have to find a lowest common denominator. And we did that using the least common multiple. We had a list of the multiples over here, and we found the lowest multiple that both numbers had in common. Then we knew, using equivalent fractions, we figured out what our numerators should be. And then we have two fractions with a common denominator, and we know what to do. We keep the common denominator as our denominator in the answer, and we add the numerators. We always have to analyze our answers when we're dealing with fractions. And our answer here turned out to be an improper fraction. We have to turn that improper fraction into a mixed number using division. The final step here is once we had our mixed number, we had to check the fractional part of the mixed number and make sure that it was reduced into lowest terms, and it was not. So we divided the numerator and the denominator by 2 to get our final answer of 1 2/5.